So when I first started out, I had a day one plan. Felt like the president. I'm like, okay, when I start out my handyman business, I'm gonna do this on day one and I'm just gonna kill it. I remember sitting down with my financial advisor, probably 2 months before I actually started this handyman business. I was telling him my idea to get this business started, and I said, okay, here's my plan. Day one, I'm gonna go door to door and just knock on people's doors and basically with my tool bag and be like, hey, do you have anything that needs fixed? Obviously, I'd be a little bit more, professional than that, but basically the premise would be knock on the door, do you need anything fixed? And they'd be like, oh yeah, thank you so much, you're my savior. And then they invite me in and then I'd do work and then I'd make a whole bunch of money, and that was my plan for starting my handyman business. Hey friends, welcome to day 2, September 5th, 2023. Super excited to have you here. This is day 2 of my 100-day challenge here on YouTube. As many of you know, I am on a challenge. I'm going to make a video for the next 100 working days. And really what spurred this along is I want to help you guys. I want to impart some knowledge on you guys that maybe are just starting out or on this journey of kind of how I ran this journey to get it to where I am today, to grow my handyman business to where it is today. This is also day 2 of our general manager taking over kind of the management of our business, and I have kind of become the CEO now. Basically, my role is marketing, finances, and company culture. So let's jump back into the story. Okay, so a few months before, I told my financial advisor this is my day 1 plan, and he says, that's a horrible idea, Alan, you cannot do that. So what he recommended is that I build up at least clientele, so I am at least booked out for the first week when I go full-time. So my plan was to go full-time January 1st, 2017. So I took his advice, and what I did is for the whole month of December, like I talked about in the last video, the whole month of December I worked every single evening, every single weekend, so that I could build up my clientele. Also, another thing that I started doing is I started investing in Yelp ads. And I remember there's a lot of controversy about Yelp. Do your own research. I personally built my business on Yelp, and it has served me well. So when I first started out, the reason why I chose Yelp was because when we first moved to the town that we live in, I wanted to take my wife out to Mexican food. That was our favorite kind of food. We had no clue about what a good Mexican restaurant was in this town because we were brand new. So what I did is I went to Yelp and I said, Mexican restaurants, right? And I looked at the reviews and I found one with good reviews, and we went in, and I totally remember, this is kind of an interesting point. I totally remember the first time we walked into that restaurant, me and my wife looked at each other, we're like, are you sure you want to eat here? Because it looked like a hole in the wall. But it was absolutely the best food we ever had, and we went to that restaurant for many, many, many years. In fact, we still go to the actual location. They closed down during COVID, unfortunately. They couldn't survive during COVID, but it's one of those things where the reviews speak for themselves. The reviews are more than, like, if you just went and got like a first impression of the restaurant, you wouldn't want to eat there. But by reading the reviews, you're like, oh wow, this sounds like a really good restaurant, no matter how it looks. So reviews are very important. And for me, that kind of gave me the idea of, okay, Yelp is kind of the place to go. That's where I went when I was looking for a Mexican restaurant. So that's maybe where other people go for handyman jobs or to look for handyman work. That was really as simple as my thought was. And I went and I called Yelp, and it was $300 to invest for a month on Yelp. And just coming from that mindset, right? When you work for someone and you make whatever it is, 20 bucks an hour, 25 bucks an hour, whatever it is, and you go to start this business, having to spend $300 without actually making money is really hard to grasp. For me, it was like, wow, you want me to spend 300 bucks for, who knows if I'm even gonna make any money off this? Like, Yelp can't really, no advertiser can be like, I guarantee you're gonna make this or double this, right? It's just like, well, this has worked for other people, so it ought to work for you. So that's kind of what I did. It was a kind of a hard pill to swallow, the $300 for a month. I'm like, oh geez, like I didn't even have $300. Like I got to work a little bit to make this 300 bucks. But at the end of the day, it was by and large worth it, because 300 bucks is really nothing in the grand scheme of, how much you can make as a handyman. So I went ahead and bit the bullet. I think I started investing in Yelp for monthly ads, 300 bucks a month, starting December 1st. And then again, I went full-time January 1st of 2017. And what I had is when I went full-time, those first 5 days, I had 5 days booked out. So that first week of 2017, I was fully booked out. I had $500 jobs scheduled for that whole week. Now this is kind of another topic, but I had $500 days because here in California, the law is you cannot perform a job, or project greater than $500, including labor and materials. So I basically sold everything for $500. That's kind of, a full day's job, $500. That's kind of how I did it. I've learned a lot since then, learned a lot more about the laws and regulations and things like that. But $500 days. And man, that week was an insane week. I got a lot more stories about that. I'll cover those here in the coming days. But that week, probably every single day I learned something new about the handyman industry and about something that I didn't know that I needed to know. So I'm going to share those stories as we kind of go, because again, this is a 100-day challenge, so there's going to be a video every single working day for the next 100 days. But I'm so grateful for having people around me that will tell me when my ideas suck, right? This financial advisor, he looked at me, that's a horrible idea, Alan. You need to have actually a week's worth of work scheduled before you go full time. And I'm so glad that he said that. I'm so glad that that gave me kind of the push to invest into Yelp and actually make this thing legit. So that was kind of a huge lesson that I learned that I definitely did not know that I needed to know, was like, hey, you need to invest to make this stuff happen. And oftentimes the plans that we kind of have, if we don't run those by anyone else, sometimes they can be pretty horrible plans. So like I recommended in the last video, I would highly recommend you get involved in the Handyman Journey Mastermind group on Facebook. It is a great resource. There's over 11,000 people in that Facebook group. And I started that group in 2017 kind of as a way to surround myself with like-minded people that would basically tell me when my ideas suck, when they're good, right? In a nutshell. They would help kind of guide me, shape me, mold me as I went through my handyman journey and give me a lot of good information. I relied pretty heavily on that Facebook group, that first year, the first 2 years, the first 3 years in business, because it's a great resource. There's guys in that group from all around the world that have been doing handyman work for 20 years. Some have been doing it for 5, some haven't even started yet. It's a great mix of people. So I'll put a link in the description below where you guys can join that Handyman Journey Mastermind group on Facebook. Would highly recommend it. It helped me, and I'm sure it will help you guys. But thanks for tuning in. This is day 2. What we have planned for the day is we're actually transitioning our CRM, our invoicing and estimating software, over to Service Fusion from Markate. There's a few reasons why we're doing that, strategic reasons. And so today we're going to kind of dig into that and QuickBooks with our new general manager. For the next 3 months, basically, I'm going to be working with the general manager for about 2 or 3 hours a day. Friday, which was day 1, we did payroll. So that was kind of the first initiation in that. Today we're going to be jumping into kind of learning Service Fusion and QuickBooks as well. But we have a whole 3-month plan of things that we need to teach and kind of go over. So I'm looking forward to that. I would love to hear from you guys, what you guys think about this series. Any thoughts or questions or concerns? Maybe you think what I'm doing is stupid. Drop it in the comment section below. I would love to communicate with you. Like this video also and subscribe to this channel. We'll catch you guys on day 3. That's going to be tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.